Forbes India 30 Under 30, presented by Vivo.
Hi, everybody. What's up? I am Raj, and today I'll be talking to Nikhil. Well, I don't know how to introduce Nikhil Kamath because, trust me, like till when I got to know about him, I think pretty much everybody already knew about him at that time. But still, let me introduce. He's one of the Forbes 30 under 30 alumni. He's been very crucial in building Zerotha, which is one of the flagship startups when it comes to bootstrap stories in India. Also, now he's building True Bacon. And apart from all of that, why I believe like Nikhil should be followed and everybody should look up to him is because of his crucial research post on Instagram. What do you say about that, Nikhil? I love those posts. Okay, everybody has been talking about them.
I'm contrarian. Why I don't know. I think a little bit like I like saying bad things about other people. Not that enough bad stuff is not said about me, but I enjoy it. Yeah, like I post once in a week, and I normally say nonsense, and it's
But
entertaining for me.
one of the interesting stuff which I found out on your Instagram is maybe it's basic for you, but for a lot of people, it's very interesting to know about the stuff which you post, especially when it comes to, let's say, crypto. It's about where the money is coming from, where the money is going. How do you come up with all of that? Like, is that the daily routine which you go through, the research papers, or you just find it out to post it on Instagram?
No, I think it's what I'm kind of reading about at that point, and if I
Mhm.
find anything interesting, like every day I'm talking to people. I have friends in the crypto world. I think you are becoming one of them, but you're also entering crypto, right? Like I see your
Yeah.
posts talking about it. But I have Tanmay and I have like
Mhm.
Akshay and I have like a dozen different people who keep telling me about things like the metaverse and crypto and what they're doing on Solana and stuff like that. Uh, Things I have no real knowledge about, but I'm trying to learn because even though I feel like I've been left out of a large part of of the party, I want to catch up and be part of that ecosystem in one way or another. So when I have a question, I kind of post it. When I don't understand something, I look it up and then post it so maybe other people can think about it as well.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. I'm gonna take a step back right now and start off with the first question, and then we'll dive back into the crypto conversation because I have an interesting question for you. Okay,
Yeah.
so if for the beginning, like you are a Forbes 30 under 30 alumni, right, from the class of 2016, I guess, and
Yeah.
in 2020 you debuted on the Forbes India rich list of the 100 richest Indians, and today you're addressing 30 under 30 class of 2021. How has the journey been like? Like you've been into every goddamn list which people aspire to be on the Forbes. What do you say? I have a question for you. That are you more content today or more hungry than you were in 2016?
Not more content, but also less hungry, if that makes sense. I think I'm kind of like tired. I've been doing the same thing for a long time in my life. I've been trading. See, everything else for me personally is ancillary, be it stockbroking or asset management or all the other businesses that we are, a small part of or a big part of. What I really cherish is buying something which goes up in value very quickly, be it both on the private side or the public side. Uh, I I would go to the extent of calling it an addiction today. Like if I were to lose money for the next 10 years doing investing, I would probably still continue to do it because I'm so hooked. That being said, 2016, you know what? When was the Forbes 30 and under 30? Maybe 5 6 years ago. I know Nandika's on this. I kind of like remember her being a part of it back then as well. It was the first time I had to like pose for a photo in a magazine and being as awkward as I could. The photographer told me to do some stupid things and I ended up doing them. He's like sit on a bike, look into the sky and then do this and that. But I hadn't done a lot of media at that point 5 6 years ago. I was like uh, I was kind of like excited whilst not really thinking about how stupid I will look when there's a magazine which is out and I'm sitting on a bike and looking at the sky, how that makes me look. But Yeah, interesting experience. I've had friends at Forbes for a long time. I think back in the day there was Praveen, there was Brian, there's Nandika who's on this call, of course, and many others. I don't know who all are still there and who has quit along the years, but interesting. The other Forbes lists which I can recall, there was something called Tycoons of Tomorrow. There was for the last couple of years the Forbes 100, the one which is based on money and stuff like that. I don't think any of them had as much. They got me as excited or as interested as the 30 under 30. A, because I was really young. B, it was my first time kind of like posing for a magazine. And see, like in India, we have all grown up with the idea of Forbes. We might not
Yeah.
have really read the magazines, but we've all heard, Forbes is this magazine about rich people and stuff like that. So it was very exciting.
What do you think is one key of like what is that one thing which has made you successful or which has gotten you into all of these things?
I think the answer to that is different for everyone. Uh, when you're younger, you want validation. I mean, I don't think it really changes. I want validation today, and I probably will require validation when I'm 70 years old if I live that long. Uh, so the need for validation, the need for other people to kind of like look up to you, or you think they look up to you, I think is what makes society and community function in the way that we see it. Back then we were just kind of like scaling our business, and you wanted validity from your relatives and your colleagues, and just for ourselves, we wanted to know that what we're doing is appreciated and it's on the right track and stuff like that. When I think of it today, I think we're looking for validation from new peers, from our clients, from the people who've been part of our journey for the last 10, 11 years. And I don't think that will ever change. In isolation, I don't think any of us know what we really want. We're all born, and we're born in a vacuum, and we start thinking what we want is what we end up reading or end up looking at in the media. But I think validation is the main thing, and it's something that you will always run after, or I will always run after for the rest of my life.
Because of this validation, because of certain things which we chase in our life, a lot of young people and women and everybody have started investing in stock markets recently because of this trend, because of this validation which we want. Okay, now if I invest somewhere, my money is growing. I am also getting rich. Like this, there's this urge, right? Do you think this trend will keep up even after pandemic, or just because we are at our homes, we want something, and that's why we're putting money in our stock markets right now?
I think it's like, FOMO. A lot of people are investing in equity markets and crypto markets, everything else you hear about on social media. Uh, I know I'm on a Forbes whatever panel right now, but traditional media to a certain extent is getting replaced by social media.
Yeah.
I think it's a matter of time before marketers start utilizing social media in a more meaningful manner. I've just invested in this company which kind of manages social media influencers and kind of aggregates campaigns for them called Confluence. I get to see the trends behind how much marketing money is spent in traditional media and how much is spent uh, in the social media ecosystem in India. I think it's about 700, 800 crores this year, but I think that number is going to like skyrocket and become like 10 times larger in maybe the next 3 years or something like that. On social media, people are talking about how much money they've made trading cryptos, how much money they've made trading, equity or investing and stuff like that. I will also tell you this: 8 out of 10 times when people are claiming that they made a lot of money is probably untrue. But that trend will continue because penetration is so low in India.
Mm.
Pre-pandemic, we probably had 1.5% of the population of our country which had ever bought equity, either directly or indirectly. That number, I would assume, has gone up through the pandemic to about 2.25%. In the Western countries, more developed economies, it's probably closer to 40-50%. So I wouldn't be surprised if that 2% goes up to 5-10%. uh, just talking about circumstances today, inflation we are told is at about 6%, right? Like consumer price inflation, for example. uh, if you look at the margins that FMCG companies are operating on, if you look at, the price of crude, steel, copper, aluminum, anything, you've seen that these prices have rallied at by as much as 70, 80, 100% in the last year or two. So it would be fair to assume that inflation on the ground is a lot higher than 6%. I would say practically it's probably around 10%. If the risk-free rates in our country are about 4.5 by 5%, and inflation is so much higher, you kind of lose money by keeping your money in a bank, by keeping it in cash, or earning 5-6% of a fixed deposit. That does not make you money anymore. In fact, it loses you money against inflation. So people do have to find alternate avenues to allocate that capital, just to retain true wealth. And in the avenues that are available in India, I think you have real estate, you have gold, you have equity. Uh, I think equities, in my opinion, on top of the pile, just by virtue of how liquid it is, how favorable taxation is. Anywhere else you pay 20-30% tax. Here you pay long-term capital gain tax of only about 10% if you hold a stock for over a year. So for all those reasons, I think the number of people coming into equity will continue to go up. At what pace is probably determined by that FOMO element. If the markets were to correct 20% next year, instead of going from 2 to 2.5%, we probably go from 2 to 2.1 or 2.2%.
Hmm.
But as long as people are making money somewhere, they're going to keep coming in, and they're going to tell their friends about it, and they're going to exaggerate and boast and make it sound like they made 10 times that they actually did, and more people will come in.
So apart from building wealth, okay, apart from company, apart from taxation and money, do you think that it's really important for young people to start giving back to society as well? And if yes, at what time, at what point in life somebody should start supporting causes? And how do you decide if you support any cause? To how do you decide, like, this is the cause I want to support?
I was about to call you to ask you for some money for a charity, but yeah, I think you should start early. Um, See, I'll do a little bit of like promotion for a new thing we have started, but it's called YIPP. It's called Young India Philanthropy Pledge.
Okay.
We are kind of pushing it in the startup ecosystem, where startup founders who have done well early in life decide to allocate 25% of their wealth to charity through their lifetime. The minimum of 25%. Most often, you realize they will end up doing a lot more than that. We've started our first project. It's in Karnataka, in a district called Haveri, where we are taking about 300 high schools and kind of like renovating them, improving infrastructure, the teaching staff capabilities and stuff like that. It's a very interesting project, but there are only young people involved in it and young people paying for it. So I think more young people have to come on board early, participate. We have kind of like put our focus around climate change and uh, things around that, because I think we at some point figured that if there is no planet which is in a survivable condition, what is the point of doing the what is the point of treating the symptoms of a bad planet, or if of a planet which is no longer conducive for living? You have to actually work on the main problem. I don't think we'll make an iota of a difference to the climate change problem, but I think if we can encourage 1,000 other people to replicate what we are doing, we'll probably, put together have some kind of an effect.
So, like, whenever, let's say, you support a cause of someone else's cause, and you write them a check, ki, okay, I want to support this thing. How involved are you beyond writing a check?
With YIPP, I am.
Okay.
Other stuff, I'm not. So, Raj, the way I look at it, right? Like, I'm 35 years old. I'm not married. I have no kids. I have no interest in, being 60 years old and dying with X amount of money in my bank account or something like that, right? Like, if you have no dependence, and if you're happy with the lifestyle you already have, and you're not like, looking to buy something extraordinarily big and stuff like that, you have to utilize that money you accumulated somewhere. And I think you feel happier doing these charity projects than you feel doing Vena projects, like, buying yourself a really large home, or, like, an automobile or a watch or something like that. So it also makes you feel good. And at the end of the day, we all do, whatever we do for validation and feeling good, right? And this falls in line with that.
People who understood the internet has built fortune in the last decade. Okay, whatever industry they might be in, if they've collaborated or combined their business with the power of internet, they have built fortunes. What is the next big thing according to you? And if people start understanding this next big thing, they'll have a better chance of success. So I think it's gonna be for you with fintech and climate tech. Correct me if I'm wrong.
In a way, yeah, but I've been a big critic of everything crypto, blockchain, meta, for a long time now. But I find myself warming up to the metaverse.
Okay.
I think there's something there, and I think in the next decade or so, I don't mean, go buy an NFT of a bunny rabbit and pay $100,000 for it. I don't mean that at all. But I was talking to somebody recently, a friend of mine called Ajit, who's the Facebook CEO for India, and he was demoing how a meeting will change from, from being two-dimensional like it is today on Zoom, or how it used to be in person, to how it will feel like it is actually in person on the
Yeah.
metaverse. So I feel like people will be plugged in a lot longer. It will have ancillary effects which will kind of benefit the environment. You don't travel from point A to B. You help climate change. You kind of like reduce the traffic problem, the pollution problem, many ancillary advantages. But uh, I'm giving you one use case of the metaverse, but I think much will change there, and I think that's a really cool and interesting idea for the next decade.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. It was pleasure talking to you like always. Thanks for giving all the ball of wisdom or the pockets and nuggets of wisdom for everyone who's there. I'm sure a lot of people look up to you and they want to achieve significant things and would take things like your advice seriously, that to focus on every other thing and every other aspect of life as well, rather than focusing on just one in order to feel more content and less insecure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raj.
Forbes India 30 Under 30, presented by Vivo.